Well, here's today's event. I just got the RedNeck T Post feeder. Holds 80 pounds of corn. The T Post is 58 inches off the ground to the top, and that leaves it 37.5 inches to here. There's my six-inch post that I painted in a previous video, and then I took a 5-gallon bucket, cut the top off, painted it, cut a hole just with my razor knife, slid it down, and that's supposed to prevent the coons. I'm telling you what. And then I set it out in the sun for 3 days to kind of knock out the paint smell, and then I sprayed the fire out of it with that. That's what I had. But there is the buck pop-up stand right there. There's my scent dripper from last year. But this holly tree, about 10 yards from a creek, I scrape under it every year. And I had a 10-point make the first scrape of the year. I got him on video. But I'm 1 yard and I shot the big buck right here. He is now on the wall. 35 yards. My arrow went through him with that 3-inch broadhead, dead ringer trauma, and stuck in that right about there. That's where the arrow stuck in the ground. And he went about 30 yards that way. Across the Grand Canyon, 18 foot. I had to drag him up, but I grunted him from way up yonder. I sat there ready for 25 minutes on a squirrel bark, and it was drizzling rain, and he just appeared, and he stopped right here in this exact spot, 1 yard from that scrape, and he turned and he looked at that stand, and I sent one. History. But anyway, I think I've had as many as 10 coons at one time. So I'm hoping that this little apparatus, look at that squirrel going yonder. If I was squirrel hunting, you wouldn't see one. And I'm hoping, oh yeah, he's raining leaves. I've had as many as 9 squirrels on the ground this very spot, but I'm hoping this little item prevents them. Now, I'm about 2 yards from that pine tree. Now, a squirrel could get up there and he could Geronimo and land on this and maybe slide down and get, but it's going to slow them down tremendously. But I'm not so concerned about the squirrels as I am the coons. Them sapsuckers will spend all night at the spot. Now, blah. I got my old trail camera. I had to do a new lock. This one ain't rusty. I brought this one from home. That's what I locked the 4-wheeler up with a cable. But I got 3 key to lock. Boy, I got a little project for that in a minute. I'll show you what I do with that lock. Oh, blah. My drill. Everything a man might need. Oh boy. Oh boy, let me. There it is, right there in the pocket. See how rusty that thing is? I was about to break the key every time I ease it in there, so it's key to lock with this other lock. It's key to lock. I got 3 of them. One's on another feeder, but it's so rusty. It's hard to get the key in there, so I just brought my other lock, and it works like a champ. I'll take this one back and oil it up with some 3-in-1 oil and work it real good and lock the 4-wheeler up with that. That's the project there. And while I'm in here fighting the heat and the mosquitoes, oh boy, let me show you this other little idea I had right after season. I ain't got no wasp in this stand. I bought this ground blind last fall, and I set it up. Well, I don't want to pack it in and out in the sun, just beats down, so I found a camouflage 9x12 tarp, and I just draped it over and pulled it tight, and I backpacked some bricks in here and some twine, and I pulled it tight, and that kept, I don't know if you can tell, but you can tell how this is faded. This sucker, about noon, 11:30 or noon, the sun beats on it almost all evening, and it's faded this tarp, but it's protected my pop-up, so I ain't got to pack that thing in and pack it out, because I got a T post in there with a cable wrapped around a big padlock. Now the only thing is in this heat, look at that silliness. So, but it's still pretty well protected the top. So what I'll do after season, I'll just get me another camouflage tarp, and I'll lay it over this one and tie it all down. And this stand will last for years right here, and I ain't packing it in and out. That's my theory. But I looked in it the other day, and there's no wasp. Now a mouse did get it there, and I had a roll of toilet paper in a Ziploc bag, and that sucker chewed a hole in the Ziploc bag. I'll show you in a minute. But what I'm going to do with this string is I'm going to cut all this that's holding it. I got it all tied to that brick. And I'm going to pull and tie a string to this eye. And I'm going to wrap it around this pine tree about head high to pull that tarp tight, kind of at an angle where water will shed, and it'll make it even darker in there. So when I'm wearing a black shirt and a face mask, and I'll have the screen where it'll just clear the scope on my crossbow, and then I'll take that corner and I'll tie it to that tree right there with string, or maybe that one, and I'll have it just at an angle where water will shed, but it won't impede with me shooting. Plus, another thing with it like this, I'm only going to have the front window open, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this pulled tight, so that'll help conceal my scent in the stand with the wind blowing in my face. I lean that up there so it wouldn't blow. I'm going to have this corner right there, and I'm going to tie it to that tree or that limb up out the way where he can sneak in here for daylight. Darn, get a load of this Fruit Loopness. I mean, that sucker right there made a whole roll of toilet paper look like a doggone it went through a blender. Oh boy. And there's one little old hole right there and right there that he come under. Other than that, it's dark. Oh boy. Got me that old handy dandy chair. $19 at Academy, but that's what I'm fixing to do. So it protects my pop-up. It'll conceal my scent, because I'll leave all three of the back windows down, and I'll just strictly be hunting out this front window. And I spent, I don't know, an hour and a half the other day, and I trimmed, but that feeder's about 30 yards, and it's 35 yards to that scrape with that scent jumper. I'll fill that sucker up about the first week in October when I get ready to hunt. But you can rest assured I will kill another wall hanger out this stand, because there is a ton of them running through here. But anyway, to the next event.